I am back by popular demand. Nah, I swear. I said I was gonna make another video to my golden perspective 2 months ago. I think that was 2 months ago. But I'm back. I'm just glad for that, okay? I'm just glad to be back. Even if it was a little minute. I'm back. And I'm ready to I'm still ready. I'm ready to talk about the conscious and the subconscious mind today. If you can't tell already, I don't know if you can tell. So now that I've talked a bit about the 3D, 4D, and 5D, and just really the basic to those things, I'm ready to step it up a notch to the subconscious and conscious mind. Now, not even gonna lie, I'm looking at my old notes and stuff, and I'm looking at these notes and I'm just like, I see, something a bit wrong. And then I also started drawing questions. I'm like, wait, like, where should certain things go? So, yeah, let's get into it. I'll put a picture on the screen of the graph that I'll be referring to. But I wrote this a few years ago, right? And originally, I'm going to try to explain the thought process behind the way I have it set up visually. But basically, you have the physical awareness and then the spiritual, right? I know originally when I first even got into this topic, like I used to see awareness as the 4D, as the mind, which I don't resonate with that. I don't believe that. And then I used to believe that, okay, awareness is something that lives in the mind, though. Like, it lives in the mind and can travel to the physical, travel to the spiritual. I still seen it as something that lived in the 4D. I was having trouble really separating awareness from the mind / 4D, And that was one of the first questions that I drew when I looked at this. I'm like, where would the mind go then? Where does the mind fit into this graph? And believe it or fucking not, the answer came to me. I was just looking at it and then it came to me. You have the physical and you have the spiritual, right? Now, what would the mind be? The mind would be the medical physical. When we're talking about the arena itself, you know what I mean? I like to think of that as the metaphysical for the mind. And so you have mind, body, soul. You have the arena, aka the space, So you have the physical, the metaphysical, then the spiritual. And so now looking at it, that's how I see it fit on that graph. Awareness is its own thing. Awareness is something that could be in the physical and the spiritual. It could anywhere. So then we have the mind, even though I don't have a new graph to really express my new thoughts about it that I just talked about, but we have the mind, which is in the middle, no longer awareness now, right? And the mind then splits into two different things, being the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is mostly, from what I see and hear, is mostly associated with the physical. And I think reason being is because when we're talking about the conscious mind, we're talking about something that is a bit more present, a bit more in your face. And the physical is something that can be a lot more in your face because most and majority and just about all human experiences here on earth are surrounded by the physical, is bringing our awareness into the physical. I can't speak for every single human experience on earth, but majority of any human that you may run into can give you a physical details about something they see, hear, smell, you know what I'm saying, without any hesitation nor doubt. If I ask you what color is this apple and you say red, you're not gonna miss it red. You know what I mean? And then on the other hand, the spiritual is more associated with the subconscious mind because it's more about what can go undetected, can at times be unseen, not really fully illuminated to the mind's eye. You know, these are things that can linger in the background, and then the spiritual just so happens to correlate and resonate with that in the human experience here on earth. You know what I mean? And I'm not in any shape or manner obligating one of these things to the other. I'm simply trying to explain why they would be categorized together, you know? But me, I'm an outside the box thinker, and I just wonder, can it be the other way around? How would it look the other way around? I ask myself those questions as if they're hypothetical, but they're not. Okay? That's how my experience here on this earth has been. It has been damn near the other way around. Not saying that 100% of the spiritual things taking place are in my conscious mind, and 100% of the physical things taking place are in my subconscious mind. But what I am saying is, majority of the spiritual information that I receive on a day-to-day basis is received in my conscious mind. A lot of the physical information that takes place on a day-to-day basis is stored in my subconscious mind. I feel like, not gonna lie, like since I have been coming more into my physical, like it's not as much as it used to be, but it still is that way. Like sometimes, yeah, that's besides the point, but it definitely used to be a lot more. But as I've gotten older, I've definitely came more into my physical, into my body. My awareness has drawn more towards this plane, that plane, whatever the fuck. Is this for me, that for you? Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Anyways, but I really wanted to bring that up just because, like I said, from what I hear and what I see, a lot of times the spiritual is being talked about when you're talking about the subconscious mind being talked about in the category of being spiritual. And then I feel like a lot of times the conscious mind is talked about in things being the physical, more specifically things surrounding practicality and things of that nature. When you're practically trying to change a habit or something, we talk about the conscious mind. We talk about to consciously do this thing, and you know what I'm saying. But I really just wanted to bring up my perspective on it. I really just wanted to highlight the fact that they are not obligated to one another. Not that anyone has ever said that, and not that anything of that nature. And like I said, the way in my life this takes place is a lot of spiritual information is in my conscious mind. And what I mean by that is 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to tell something's off, not by the physical nature of what's happening, but by the spiritual nature. And I can consciously make a decision from that space. That's how much in my conscious mind spiritual information lives. There's also something I really want to hit on as I'm talking about more in depth about how this shows up in my experiences. And it's a bit of it's kind of fucking with my brain, not gonna lie. And I just want to fuck with somebody's brain. It's fucking with my brain though. But I'm gonna read this out loud. I might reword a few things, but yeah, because I wrote this a long time ago. But this is what I said. Underneath this graph, I wrote thought process. The physical and the spiritual are two extreme opposites that seamlessly collide at both ends. This is why the nature or material of the two realms are totally different, while they ultimately tell the same story. For example, let's say that both you and a friend can tell that there is something terribly off with someone. You detect it through a gut feeling, while your friend detects it by looking at their physical appearance. You are subconsciously, and when I say physical experience, that doesn't have to be like the face expression they make. It could be a fucking smell. Shit. Physical appearance. Anything that is experienced or captured through physical senses. Something you see, something you smell, something you taste. And that can also be fucking spiritual. See how they just, they're two in one. I always do my best to try to dissect these things, but it's like the more I dissect it, the more you see it's all one thing. Anyways, I'm not even finished yet. Okay. You are subconsciously aware of the physical aspects and consciously aware of the spiritual, while your friend is the opposite. Perhaps something fell off, which caused them to look at the physical aspects of this person. Maybe. Information from the physical and spiritual can be stored in both the conscious or subconscious mind. And that's motherfucking facts. That's motherfucking facts. That's motherfucking facts. And what this conversation is now bringing me into, and I'm not gonna talk about it in this video. We're gonna keep this short because this really just my brain just on a mad scientist type timing. Just a little bit, not too much. Maybe some, okay? And but this conversation is now leading to, we've talked about the arenas, we talked about the instruments. Now it's time to break it down to internal and external. Oh, I don't even have any notes on that in here, but that is a topic that's come up in my little mad scientist moments. Most of the time I have them by myself, so let's just all be grateful that I was able to catch this on camera. It really comes up at the most random moments. But this topic is not new to me, although it's not in my notes. But that is what we'll be talking about next time. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this far. I appreciate it very, very much. And stay tuned in. Until next time.